A very good evening to you and welcome to RTV News with me, Fiona Mbabazi. As the world celebrated the International Anti-Corruption Day, President Paul Kagame is calling on all people not to falter in the fight against corruption, as this has major repercussions on the country and its citizens. The Sheikh Tamim bin Ahmad Al Thani Anti-Corruption Excellence Award was also held this day. Now, the 5th Sheikh Tamim bin Ahmad Al Thani Anti-Corruption Excellence Award was held in Tunisia. Speaking at the event, President Kagame said that transparency and accountability allows the countries to use the national resources effectively for the well-being of its citizens.
I'm honored to join you for the 5th edition of the Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani International Anti-Corruption Excellence Awards. I commend His Highness the Amir, as well as the valuable partnership with the United Nations, which makes these awards possible. I congratulate all the awardees for your unique and determined efforts to expose and eliminate corruption. The fight against corruption is a global objective that requires all of us to work together to improve our societies. Transparency and accountability allow us to use our national resources effectively for the well-being of our citizens. Combating corruption may have a political cost, but the price of not uprooting it is much higher. In particular, for the most vulnerable members of our societies. Kigali remains the proud home of the iconic anti-corruption sculpture unveiled at last year's event.
Now, the award is presented annually on the International Anti-Corruption Day, which is the 9th of December, and in recognition and appreciation to those whom have contributed to the global campaign against corruption. The award recognizes individuals and organizations that have dedicated themselves to combat corruption in some capacity. Now, last year, Rwanda hosted the 4th edition, and present at the event were Rwandan President Paul Kagame, the Emir of Qatar Tamim bin Ahmad Al Thani, Namibian President Heg Gengob, and African Union Commission Chairperson Musafaki Mahamat, and other dignitaries. Now, President Kagame also inaugurated a monument, a steel hand structure that is located here at the Kigali Convention Center. Involved in the fight against corruption in the country say they need to collaborate more by exposing places that are corrupt, and for each institution to fulfill its responsibilities so that Rwanda can continue to be corrupt-free. Jane Mutuni with the details.
According to various reports and research that has been carried out over the years by different institutions, show that although the rate of corruption has reduced, it is still present. Heads of institutions and local officials say more effort is required in this battle against corruption through technology and also by spreading awareness among the citizens. According to what people say and hear, together with the analysis, you'll find that corruption is still present. We've heard people say that while they're offering their bidding documents, some papers were getting ripped out from them, and people wouldn't notice. But now, with technology, bidders are attending at the same time. We are also yet to find out if there is more behind the technological method. In the Bible, many scriptures talk about how we should avoid the sin of corruption. I wish that pastors could spread the gospel in churches by showing people how corruption is a sin, according to the word of God. We think it's possible to fight corruption, but it would be much easier if institutions involved in the fight of corruption could teach the locals about the laws and their rights so that they don't have to pay for the things that are rightfully theirs. And another thing, public and private sectors should offer services to the people on time without hesitation. As Rwanda celebrates the International Anti-Corruption Day and the start of the sensitization work of fighting against corruption in the country, various institutions involved in the fight against corruption held discussions to revise on ways of eradicating corruption. The chairperson of Transparency International Rwanda, Ingabire Marie Immaculée, says all institutions ought to fulfill their respective responsibilities.
Twagera ku rwego rushimishije mu gihe cyose inzego zose
We would achieve more if all institutions carried out their responsibilities to the fullest. If an institution receives news on a corrupt place, they should immediately report the case to the respective authorities, which are then handed over to the court to be carefully assessed by a lawyer. This would discourage corruption. The cabinet minister in the president's office, Judith Uwizeye, says the political will and the laws that fight corruption will solve this issue. When there is political will, it means no one is above the law to escape the crime of corruption once discovered. Though Rwanda is still in the top countries in the world with less corruption, there is still more work to be done. According to Rwanda Investigation Bureau, in 2018 there were 732 crimes related to corruption, which involved 1,131 people, while in 2019 there were 1,088 corruption cases involving 1,295 people. Recently, in September, there were 963 corruption cases, which involved 1,729 people. Jane Mutoni, reporting for RTV.
Now, as a result of the preventive measures of the COVID-19 pandemic, some of the institutions that were accustomed to the International Exhibition Expo will not be participating this year. The Rwanda Private Sector Federation has announced that the fair will be held in a special way and that the Rwanda National Police assures that it is ready to do the best and that the COVID-19 safety regulations will be complied with. Martina Abera with the details.
There are only a few days left until the start of the 2020 International Expo. Preparations for the event are in full swing. This time, it will be attended by 301 Rwandan and 72 foreign exhibitors, as they are the ones who have already confirmed their availability. A total of 373 will come from 12 countries around the world. Nevertheless, some of the companies that would normally be part of the exhibition will not take part, according to Stefan Ruzibiza, CEO of the Rwanda Private Sector Association. But there are other restaurants that sell food. When you say food, it is all sorts of packages like Inyanje. If you want something to drink, you will get it. And if you want something to eat, you will get it as well. However, Brarirwa and Skol will not attend this edition of Expo due to their own reasons. This was part of the press conference that included leaders of the Rwanda private sector, the Ministry of Trade and Industry, and the Rwanda National Police. In the Expo, bars will not operate, as well as entertainment activities. This is all because the Expo is happening in unusual circumstances and the way it will be done will be different. In terms of payments, no one will be exchanging through the use of hands because telecommunications and financial institutions will be helping those who need this method. The Rwanda National Police says it will be there to ensure that all existing COVID-19 safety regulations are complied with, according to Rwanda National Police spokesperson CP John Bosco Kabera. The police will use all their might and all their departments to make the Expo a success. We want to take this opportunity to remind all the Rwandans and those staying here that even though the Expo is going to happen, it does not remove the fact that there is still an ongoing deadly virus. So this fair will be done in accordance with the preventive measures to avoid the virus, including wearing a mask properly, keeping a 1 meter distance between everything around you, washing your hands frequently with water and soap so that everything will be controlled. Since the COVID-19 pandemic has affected businesses, Sam Kamugisha, Director General of Industry Promotion and Entrepreneurship at the Ministry of Trade and Industry, points out that there has been some help in finding a way to participate in the fair. We have helped about 40 people in different sectors to help them get stands, that is, handicrafts, phone appliances, electronics, and various other institutions where we found out that they were small or medium enterprises. The 23rd International Exhibition will start on the 11th and end on the 31st of this month, and will run from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Children under the age of 12 are not allowed to participate, and toys will not be displayed. Martina Abera, RTV News.
The Minister for Health, Dr. Daniel Ngamije, held discussions with various health stakeholders from various hospitals and institutions from across the country to look into what has been achieved during the challenges in place and how to better the services that are provided. The Health Minister stated that despite the pandemic, no one should provide poor services to the citizens.
We highlighted the survey on the service sector, and we saw a gap in the services on family planning and death of children below 1 year and those who die before they turn 1 month. So we have urged the practitioners from all health centers to hospitals to give better services, as we all know first aid is key in saving their lives.
Dr. Ngamiji noted that with the start of COVID-19, a lot has been put in to fight the pandemic, and more will be done even when a vaccine is found.
The first year, we had about $80 million in budget. That's from Feb this year to Feb next year. We have used about 80% of this in the fight against the pandemic. We now have a modified budget as we get ready for the vaccine. That means that we will need more money, but we will streamline this in accordance to the needs. Will we need a vaccine that's done twice or once? Because they all have various prices. What will be the role of the stakeholders, and what's ours in the budget? Will we go for the 20% that they ask, and these are the essential workers? Will we add more so that this number rises? All this has to be considered.
To some business matters now, Bank launched an awareness campaign on the use of ATM cards in soliciting or providing services by this bank. The campaign, dubbed Biroroshe Hamwe na Bank MasterCard, aims to increase the number of Rwandans using technology to access the banking services. Innocent Mugabo with more.
In the 90 days that the campaign will last, Rwandans will be given a deeper understanding of the possibilities of using MasterCard, debit, credit and prepaid cards to pay and withdraw money without having to carry it in their pockets. These cards include debit, which connects the information on the prepaid account given to both customers and non-customers of Bank. This can be acquired by anyone to deposit money used on a daily basis. There is also the credit account that helps a customer acquire a loan from this bank. Iyamuremye Antoine, the head of marketing and product development at Bank, tells us more about the campaign.
At
different petrol stations, people will have a chance to win as they make their payments using the Bank MasterCards, including vouchers at petrol stations, supermarkets, airtime, money, computers, and home appliances like fridges. We are in hard times of the pandemic, so we find it beneficial to adopt online payments. This kind of technology at Bank isn't something that has just come. At the start of this campaign, the bank also rewarded some Rwandans who used the MasterCard while making purchases during the lockdown. Rubangura Austin is one of those that were awarded, and he has a lot to appreciate about the technology. The card helped us a lot in avoiding coming into contact with liquid cash or going to public places during this period of the COVID-19 pandemic, and it also relieved us from making long queues at the bank. Bank has 28 branches nationwide, 36 ATM machines, not forgetting more than 600 agents that help in providing account opening, deposit, withdrawal services, remittances, and other services including internet banking and mobile banking. Innocent Mugabo, RTV News.
Now, 20 vulnerable families from Chanika in Rwanda district have received cows granted by President Paul Kagame to them as a sign of appreciation for the role they play in helping security organs to fight against smuggling and drugs that enter the country.
Rwanda district residents that have received cows have said that they expect more production from these cows and are happy to be chosen. These residents have assured that no smuggling or drugs will enter the country and they will never back down in fighting this. The first thing is giving information. I live near the border. I used to directly call security officials when seeing anyone coming while smuggling, and we helped each other in catching them. Another thing is that no drugs will enter in Rwanda again. We will keep giving information on time, as we usually do. Northern Province Governor Jean-Marie Vianney has asked the recipients to always remember the vow they made to President Paul Kagame, and he also mentioned that in Northern Province There is a goal that has been achieved so far in Girinka Munyarwanda project. If President can appreciate their good deeds plus granting them cows, it shows that he wants them to know that the country is theirs and they should have all the opportunities in it. They should know that they are valued. We want to thank them for their participation and we ask them to keep doing that. The Northern Province officials shows that since the residents that lived near the border started collaborating with security organs, smuggling and drugs that used to enter into the country have reduced by 90%. Shislen Mugwaneza, reporting for RTV.
Now, Bulletin Foundation donated sports and technological equipment to the Nyagatare Youth Center to facilitate youth participation in sports and to promote talents. The youth that are given the equipment appreciate the donation, saying it is going to help them get out of their isolation. Innocent Mugabo with more.
The donated materials are in 3 categories. In sports, football, basketball, volleyball and handball games were offered 10 balls in addition to the technological equipment such as 1 TV set, scanner, printer, among others. Girls were given hygiene products. Imboto Foundation that made this donation say that it is part of a broader project called Reproductive Health for Youth, where the aim is to address youth-related reproductive health issues. Eric Kairanga is an employee of the Imboto Foundation. In the first month, we started a project on reproductive health among the young, where we worked hand in hand with the district in tackling with some of the problems faced by the youths. Therefore, these are some of the things that will help them. The donation comes finding the renovated building of the center and other musical instruments that Nyagatare district recently put into the youth center. The youth say that they are ready to take advantage of the opportunity. These tools will help us as young people. For example, during our school holidays, where we shall now spend our time doing sports. These tools will help us expand our talents and find ways on how to present them. This will unite us, help us create jobs, and it will also create trust in our parents in knowing their children's talents and support them. Hatejekimana Fred, the Executive Secretary of Nyagatare District, urges the youth to make use of the center, especially since almost all the requirements have been met. We expect them to start using the center as soon as we open on Monday. The special message to the youth is that renovation works at the center are complete, so we ask them to attend as expected, since many lessons await them. The handball, volleyball and basketball courts at the center are expected to be operational next week. In addition to the equipment provided to the Nyagatare Youth Center, Imboto Foundation says that such equipment will be provided in all parts of the country, initially but starting in 8 districts. Innocent Mugabo, RTV News.
On behalf of the entire news team that made this news possible, thank you very much for being part of us. My name is Fiona Mbabazi. Have yourselves a lovely evening and a blessed night ahead.